For this lesson, we're going to start looking at indirect measurement. So let's take a look at our first example. We have the lead statue of the Korean War Memorial in Washington, D.C. cast a 43.5 shadow. At the same time, a nearby tourist cast a 32-inch shadow. If the tourist is 64 inches tall, how tall is the lead statue? So what I first want to do is I'm going to draw a picture to represent this. So I have my tourist, and he is casting a shadow that is 32 inches tall. And he is actually 64 inches tall. I also have a statue, and I'm just going to make that statue a rectangle. And that statue is casting a shadow that is 43.5 inches tall. And I'm trying to figure out how tall is that statue. So what I can do is I can actually set up a proportion, comparing the heights together and comparing the widths together. So let's write our proportion. So I'm going to write that x over 64 equals 43.5 over 32. And then I'm going to use cross multiplication. So the 64 times 43.5 gives me 2,784 equals 32x. And then when I divide by 32 on both sides, I'm going to get that x equals 87 inches. And make sure that we put our inches there because we want to make sure we always have our units. So the height of that statue is 87 inches. Go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to try this one on your own. Suppose a bell tower casts a 27.6 foot shadow at the same time a nearby tourist casts a 1.2 foot shadow. If the tourist is 6 feet tall, how tall is the tower? So I'm going to set up a proportion, and if I have that the bell tower is casting a 27.6 shadow, I'm trying to find its height, so I can just set that equal to x, or set that over x. And I want shadows to be on top, so I'm going to put 1.2 from my tourist, and he is 6 feet tall. So I have my shadows and my height, and then this would represent my bell tower, and this represents my tourist. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cross multiply, and 27.6 times 6 gives me 165.6 equals 1.2x. And when I divide by 1.2 on both sides, I'm going to get 138 feet equals x. So our bell tower is 138 feet tall. In the figure, triangle STU is similar to triangle VQU, and we need to find the distance of x. So I'm going to shade in red triangle STU. So here's the triangle STU, and I can set up a proportion, so I can do 10 over 20, so that height over the base. And then in blue, I'm going to highlight triangle VQU, and I need to set that proportion. Well, I had height first here, so I need height first on the other side, and that height would be 16. And then I have base on the bottom, and so I don't know the base yet, so that's going to be equal to x. Then I'm using cross multiplication. I get 10x equals, and then 20 times 16 is 320. And I'm going to divide by 10 on both sides, and I'm going to get that 320 divided by 10 is 32 meters. And I know that it must be meters because all the units are always meters on that. In the figure, triangle QRS is similar to triangle URT. Find the distance from the boys' cabin to the mess hall. Go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to try this one on your own. So I'm just going to color in a light blue what triangle QRS is. So here's triangle QRS. And I'm also going to color in red triangle URT. And I'm going to follow the same procedure as I did on my last one. And I'm going to say, okay, well, if I have x over 138, that's going to be set equal to, and I have my hypotenuse on top, so I need my hypotenuse on top for my other proportion, is going to equal 60 over 46. And I have both of my bases are set equal to each other, so I know that those are set up right. So I'm going to get that 46x equals, and 138 times 60 is 8,280. And when I divide by 46 on both sides, x is going to equal 180 yards.